Welcome back to AI for Founders. I am Ryan Estes, and I probably should remind you I'm not AI yet. Today's guest is Eva, founder of voice2me.AI, a company building AI voice agents so good they'll outwork your whole support team, speak 50 languages, and they never ask for a raise. Born in Kyiv, daughter of a Soviet space engineer, Eva went from flying military simulators as a kid to pioneering enterprise-grade voice AI. Her story is wild. She bootstrapped her way from an M&A consulting into building her own LLM native architecture, complete with personality-packed voice agents like Sophia, who throws in Italian phrases into customer support calls. We talk founder-led marketing, ethical AI, Ukrainian resilience, and how she cloned her father's voice after he passed away to say goodbye. This one's deep, smart, and totally unforgettable. Let's go. But first, some business. If you're a founder and you're not going on podcasts, what are you even doing? At Kitcaster, we book visionary entrepreneurs just like you on top podcasts, so you can share your story, your product, and your passion with the people who matter most. Podcast guesting isn't just PR, it's distribution, it's content, it's trust at scale. We've booked over 14,000 interviews and counting and work with hundreds of high-growth startups, including several unicorns. Whether you're raising a round, building your brand, or launching your next big thing, we get you on the mic. Visit kitcaster.com and apply to be a guest today. Microphone not included, but we'll help with that too. That's Kitcaster by Moburst. Now, you and I know startups aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the wild, during 3 a.m. bug fixes, botched launches, and that one meeting where everything almost fall apart. That's what Code Story is all about. It's a podcast where tech founders break down the make or break moments behind their products, what went wrong, what went right, and what nearly wrecked everything. Hosted by Noah Labhart, Code Story goes past the highlight reel and into the honest stuff. Late pivots, brutal bugs, and somehow coming out alive with a product people actually love. If you're in the build stage, the scale stage, or the please let this feature work stage, I can relate. This show will speak to your soul. Listen to Code Story at codestory.co or wherever you get your podcast. Just search Code Story. It'll be right at the top. Because great startups aren't born, they're forged, one hard moment at a time. codestory.co. Hey, what's up, Eva? How are you?
Doing good. How are you today? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. Now, I understand that Eva is your nickname. What is your full name?
I'm glad you asked. So my full name is Evgenia. It has a Greek origin, but for 20 years, I've been trying to make people to remember and pronounce it correctly. Almost everybody failed. So Eva is actually my nickname, and when people ask me, do I go by Eva or Eva, I said, doesn't really matter because it's not really my name.
Let me see if I pronounce it correctly. Evgenia?
Yes. To make matters worse or more complicated, the short name for Evgenia is Zhenya. Well, because nobody can explain to me how Margaret became Peggy or how Robert became Bob. Same story applies here. So no one can explain to me how Evgenia turned into Zhenya. So that's the like trying to remember that.
Amazing. And I detect a subtle accent. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Ukraine, from Kyiv. But again, wow. I'm hiding my accent very professionally because I studied in UK and I lived in Italy and I traveled in the Middle East. So it's a blend of everything together.
It is. It's a lovely accent. I think it's really cool.
Thanks.
Growing up in Kyiv, how did that influence your career and what brought you to the States?
It's a good question. I am a daughter of I would call him a super genius. My dad was the Air Force military colonel, and he was one of the guys who, was engineers for the space shuttle Buran, the first space shuttle that Soviet Union deployed in space. And unfortunately, I was born to be a daughter, a girl. He really wanted to have a boy, like really military kid. So I had a huge shoes to fill. So since my childhood, I was, piloting on this helicopters and artificially simulators in his lab. So I had my high tech in my gene, I guess, with parents' blood. And I get an opportunity in my early 20s to get an internship in the United States because I was working part-time as I was finishing my bachelor's degree. And my bachelor's degree was in laser and night vision goggles. So just, again, it was not my choice, as you can imagine. It was demanded by my dad. And I took an opportunity to really come to the United States for just 3 months, and the rest is history. So I've been here for 20 years.
Amazing. So looking back on it, what's your pop think now? Is he pretty proud of his daughter?
And unfortunately, he passed away during the war in Ukraine. And so which has been, but I'm hopeful that he's proud. I really did my best to make him feel proud, become a legacy and continue his kind of journey and inspiration for in the high tech. So that's the best I can do to be a girl and not a boy.
My condolences. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sure he was brimming with pride. You have a lot of wins under your belt, and I'd love to get into it just a little bit. Explain your business currently to me like I'm 5, because emotionally I'm not probably, well, you know.
Sounds good. I practice explaining to both of my children who are just a little over 5 right now. But well, what we do, we create a magic button for enterprise to bring everything to life. The magic button brings live conversations, visual, share, and becomes your best partner to help you accomplish more in your workday. So for more adults, we do artificial intelligence for enterprise companies that create a partner for either call centers or internal help desks to accomplish more with less time and resources. So
great. So these are AI voice agents. Is that a good way to summarize?
Yes, it's a voice agent. I call it like plus, because they go beyond voice. Right now, the model technology actually offers the multimodality, where the voice agents not can just talk, they can see, they can share a screen, they can engage with. It's like a magic. Literally, it's like a magic.
Yeah.
So you can interact with them like a human being, and they can live inside of your enterprise platform if you have one like ServiceNow and Salesforce or Pega, Appian or whatever, and become an extended of your partner of your team. So they see what your team sees, they learn from the same sources, but they work 24/7, speak 40 languages, securely stay within your network, and never ask for a raise. Well, I told them to.
And when did you launch, and how'd you finance?
Oh gosh, it was this roller coaster of emotions and tough choices back 3 years ago. So we've launched, it was actually, I would call maybe a rebranding, rebirth, restructure, however you want to call it. For years, I came from the enterprise company. So I lead large merger and acquisitions in the enterprise and government contracting space in a high tech. Then I pivoted into the mergers and acquisition consultancy for a while, and I've done quite impressive things in a high-tech post-M&A support for large and mid-size SaaS businesses. And that's where I met about 6 years ago, my co-founder, and he's like, Eva, how much longer are you going to dig into somebody else's dirty laundry of post-M&A stuff? We're going to do something cool together. So I made a hard decision to really kind of pivot away from the M&A consultancy, even though we were highly involved in the technology. And we bootstrapped, believe it or not. Call me crazy, call me insane, but I sold my business and we're able to fund the initial stages of prototyping, MVPing, and into the full-grown platform. Whether I would suggest anybody else to do it the same way, cautious, do it with cautious. There is pros and cons in both. We retained equity, we retained the control. However, scaling and building the credibility with the next level of investments, because you'll eventually need to get in investments regardless. That creates a little bit of additional question of like, how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, well, what a pivot. I mean, you go from M&A consulting for SaaS companies into voice agents. What inspired that direction?
It actually wasn't really that much of a shift because I worked for years in high tech anyways. We early on adopted the workflows or complex automations. Now we call everything AI agents, which is,
right.
Yeah, everything is AI agents. So before the term became viral, we were doing that for years for post-M&A, very cumbersome environments for businesses, bringing the latest technologies, even the early signs of AI capabilities inside of enterprise to achieve the greater results. And increase the return on investment. So for me, it wasn't really that much of a shift. The rebranding was big. And behind the scene is the same kind of core team that really drives the process today. The voice captivated me since childhood, because I believe when I saw what you can accomplish with the power of voice, it blew my mind. I believe that's the most powerful tool that we have as human beings. We create relationship, we break relationship, we create friendships, we influence each other. And being able to orchestrate this with the artificial intelligence, create human connections with the power of AI, that's just something mind-blowing. So I was hooked. That's my favorite part.
It's amazing. I totally agree. That voice and conversation in particular, I see as like probably the single most influential technology that's affected humanity. I mean, we went for hundreds of thousands of years, scraping berries off the side of a hill till, inventing a sophisticated language, which built culture, you know?
That's
When you're thinking about like voice, what's inspiring in communication, conversation?
I do believe in the power of dialogue and crafting the very unique messages that bring people closer. This is the most exciting part of everyday job, because it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. It's a tonality. If you think about it, what really makes our voice sound amazing, it's over 100 muscles within our bodies that generate the sound of our voice. And that's being able to craft it artificially and give it the content of the psychology that actually makes people laugh, right? Not everything in business has to be serious. And when my kids might say like, hey, why are you so serial today? So you don't have to be. In order to build culture, in order to build acceptance, in order to build relationship between artificial intelligence and humans, and make the technology to be embraced and not resent by your culture. It's all about the execution. It's all about how you craft those dialogues, how you teach AI to use the right tonalities, to write pauses in a conversation. Those are small little fine tunes really makes this unforgettable experience for people.
Yeah. What voices do you really like? Whose voices, I should say?
I mean, I have so many of them. Like
Yeah.
what I geek out into crafting, because right now don't want to go too technical in aspects, but there's different models and different architectures that how you can create voice experience for our customers. There's a 3-layer architecture that is constructed between the kind of, I wouldn't say older versions, right? But there's voice, text, and voice. So 11 Labs, for example, that mostly support the 3-layered architecture when you craft the solution, and then you can select a variety of voices. There's also full duplex models like Google Gemini and OpenAI, the latest ones. And there's Grok released another one. So those allow you to really craft the sound of the voice through text. And they sound very different. You can give accents, you can give personas. So by adjusting just the prompting, you can achieve the very different voice. And of course, the sexy British accent is by far the winner. So
Not for me. I can't listen to a British accent. I don't know what it is. I mean, I like a sweet Georgia accent.
Well, I'm curious for everybody who'll be watching this. I would love to see the comments on that, like who votes for the, this late DJ British voice of a male voice. I mean, I think it's a killer. I put a bet that that's going to be a winner.
No, I bet you're right, especially with Americans. Americans think that British people are smart if they have that voice, I don't, or that they're like from some historical era. It's the exact opposite for me. It's like if I'm really excited about an audiobook and I put it on and it's some like deep baritone British guy's voice. I'm like, I can't listen to this. I cannot listen to this. Shout out to my people in the UK. No disrespect, but come on, man. Come on, man. Let's get an audiobook with somebody from Texas or something. Even like maybe a subtle Brooklyn. I mean, you can't go like Bronx or too crazy. That gets a bit much. But I do like a good accent, and it's interesting how it also places you into a place, like you hear an accent, you're like, ooh, I'm whisked away immediately. So much about audio and voice is like that. I mean, I probably consider myself a bit of a student when it comes to voice because I love broadcasting. I love podcasting, and we're doing this all with videos now, which is fine. But, video is what they call a cool media, so your brain can be lazy. It just kind of like lets the images kind of flash before you. But audio is a warm media. It invites you to like paint layers on top of it. What does that person look like? Where are they from? Where are they sitting? It's a creative process. Like, so when you're thinking of like great voices, who comes to mind?
Norman Freeman, I guess. Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. It's very inspirational and deep and really takes you to the next level. And I totally agree with you that the power of voice actually turns on the imagination. People ask us a lot, like, do you do the avatars or visual representations? In rare cases, we do for the specific request, but I advise customers to go not focus on the visual representation, allowing people to connect. Because imagine you talk when someone's on the phone and you instantly imagine how they look like, how they may sound, where they're located. You're open your creative brain. It creates the relationship. That's how you create that connection that helps. When you see the avatars, even the latest ones right now in technology, they still have this touch of the artificial aspect of it. And that kind of kills it right there. I do believe. Yeah. So, creative, ignite the curiosity, ignite the imagination. That what actually brings this, immersive experience for everybody.
And are you guys crafting the technology yourself? Ooh, pardon me. Just ruined the audio. Ironic. Are you guys... Are you guys crafting the technology novelly, or using something like Vapi or something like that to build on top of it?
Good question. We started with Vapi probably 2 years ago. Then we moved to DeepGram. Then we went on LiveKit, and now we completely have a homegrown. So we have our milestones and lessons learned as we designed the solution. We built everything for scalability. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of concurrent calls that we handle for very demanding industries like insurance companies or healthcare or federal agencies. So the speed and latency was the biggest barriers for us. And when you build a complex architecture, it can tailor the very custom, unique boutique offering. But when we talk about massive scalability with the security compliance, speed of deployment, that's where we realized we had to create our own homegrown technology with minimizing the dependency on external sources. So
to minimize latency.
Yes. Because when we talk about higher volumes, especially embedding with enterprise data, right? When it's one thing when you just create a conversational voice, you can talk indefinitely about any topics in general. But when you engrave the gigabytes or terabytes of corporate knowledge, that creates, and the enterprise platform itself creates a lag. And if you have to build the RAG solution or some element of this on top of that, that creates this delay in a conversation. So that's one of the reasons why we've shifted to the much more newer models to mitigate that and build our own architecture to really support the scalability.
That makes a lot of sense, because if you're thinking about conversation, one of the most uncomfortable things is silence. Like, if you're in a conversation and there's silence, people will rush to fill it because there is, they call it a pregnant pause, or there's like tension there. And that was one of the objections I wanted to bring up with you, is that when you are speaking to like an AI voice, that latency, that lag can really destroy the user experience. So attention to that, I think, is absolutely critical. The other thing I wanted to ask you about too is the uncanny valley. Do you want to disclose right away, like, hey, I'm your friendly robot, or do you want to like try and mask that the AI presence as much as possible? Like, how have you come to that decision?
So I'll answer the first question first. In terms of handling the pauses, our agents, and I'm a huge fan of this, trained to do this, let me think about it, response. And that creates the aha moment for people, because sometimes agents really need to think, or quote unquote, right? To pull the data. It's like, just let me hang out with me. Let me pull this out. Let me research. And that continues the conversation. We craft those personas individually. And I think that gives this experience of the fluency of the conversation without just like zip quiet and you don't know, like, hello, are you there?
Yeah.
Type of
Yeah.
question. And then the filler words, very natural for us, but very unnatural to AI. So we train AI to use the filler words, the good ones, of course. So to make this conversation feel like more human. And on the ethical part, it's I've been asked several times by the customers that really, really wanted to have ultra realistic experience that is almost indistinguishable from the human conversation, which is now, it's very much possible, depending again, which models they're using, which components, so how orchestration of the solutions, but it's possible. I strongly, strongly advise everybody to be fully transparent. And if you ask any of our agents, they will tell you that they're built with love by voice to me. And I believe that that creates the trust initially with the customers. And there's two types of conversation that we're usually having. It's the emotional connection conversations or the transactional conversation. And in the emotional conversation, when something happened, right? You want to feel heard and you really want to connect with a human being. That can be potentially a turnoff if you're facing the AI, artificial intelligence agents. However, in business world, most of the calls are transactional. You want to get stuff done. You want to schedule an appointment. If I take my kids to a facility, right, or a doctor's appointment, I need, my child is sick. She runs fever. I know it's 20 minutes on hold, and they would not let me in until I check in on the phone. I don't care who picks up the phone and how they sound. But what I do care, if they're going to lie to me, that they pretend to be a human and something happens and I find out, that betrays the trust and brand recognition. I don't think that using artificial intelligence for customer support is diminishing the value of the customers. I think it's quite opposite. You extending your presence in the time zones with the knowledge and expertise where your human resources are impossible to accomplish, right? You may not be speaking 50 languages, you may not be available 24/7. So depending how you deliver your message, I vote for a full disclosure right away.
This episode is brought to you by Moburst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. Moburst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product market fit or ready to accelerate growth, Moburst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At Moburst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, Moburst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At Moburst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to Moburst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together. Yeah, I totally agree, because ultimately, if you are fooled for 60 seconds, 70 seconds, you feel like an idiot, you're like, oh, so you want to know right ahead. And there's a lot of positive things that come out of that. I mean, we're talking about accents. Now, I happen to be like overly enthusiastic and supportive of anybody in service because I was a bartender for a long time and abused by terrible customers. So, but we're very accustomed to, like, if you're calling support, you're going to talk to somebody from India, you're going to talk to somebody from the Philippines, and variably there's going to be an insanely thick accent, and that can be very frustrating. If you're talking to a real person, it's like, boy, I'm having a hard time understanding you. So with this solution, you can control that experience and control it by language, right? Which is humongous, because even if, I dabble in speaking Spanish, I'm not bad. I'm from Colorado, so I know a little Spanish. But man, you're trying to navigate customer support, in Spanish would be tough. So I think it's really important. It's really interesting too. You're putting those kind of like ad libs into the language with the voices, because I mean, that's the music of language ultimately, isn't it? The inflection and the tone and like the little things that we say that don't really have words associated, but might be more communicative than anything else.
That's true. I spent my early years in Italy. So I love Italian accent. I love Italian language. And we have our, for those who knows me and my AI agents on our website, they're familiar with Amy. But by far, the most popular one is Sophia. She is Italian American and she'll throw Italian words in a conversation. So she is the
Cool.
rock star of our artificial intelligence, fleet of agents. So that's kind of gives, again, a personality, right? And gives the way to connect to someone's upbringing or stories. We learned a lesson when we crafted the personalities for some customer support. And you know exactly that there's very different perceptions of accents up north, New York, and down south. So the southern accents not really go well in the New York area. So lessons learned.
Old standing beef.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can you do a good Italian accent?
Ma certo.
Like, can you do Italian accent in English?
Oh my God, I haven't tried that. You need to ask Sophia. She does it better than me.
Nice. Yeah. Well, actually, now I'm thinking like I want my voice agent to be Jamaican, and speaking real thick Jamaican patois.
We're gonna.
I would
I
love
haven't tried it. I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
Yeah. So, enterprise clients are notoriously hard to get. How'd you get your first client?
We actually get a strategic partnership through ServiceNow, and that was our stepping stone into the enterprise world. My partner, my financial partner in crime, my CTO, he is a long-term ServiceNow expert. And we had a long-term relationship, even from M&A space into ServiceNow arena. And we built the credibility with the partnership early on. And because our solution is natively integrated, we're the first company that brought, ultra secured voice intelligence in ServiceNow platform. We built the credibility within the enterprise customers quickly because we didn't introduce just another tool that lives outside somewhere on the cloud. Who would go, God knows whose cloud that was. We natively create a native experience with the platform that they already know. And that helped to navigate the early adoptions. And first, kind of, who are you? Where did you come from? So we built a reputation. We built on the reputation we already had in the enterprise space, in an industry and platform that we already knew. So that was the stepping stone. And again, we have our own UI UX for someone who doesn't have it, but that really helped to open the doors. Like, oh, you're ServiceNow certified, you're a certified partner, you have an application that is ServiceNow store and is certified. That builds the credibility and trust. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest obstacle for us to overcome.
In the beginning, did you come to those companies and as a design partner to say, hey, here's where we are, here's where we're going, we need feedback from you? Or were you fully baked when you went to market?
We started years ago with the small little apps that had nothing to do with voice and nothing to do with AI. Back again, even 6 years ago, we had some, again, I told you that we have those custom development tools that help companies to integrate. And we built our portfolio of companies that we knew for sure that they're using some sort of customer engagement. We knew for sure that they're using our enterprise platform. So we had a warmish relationship with those clients. And we stayed in a constant contact with them. We gave them updates. We're journeying. I'm a strong believer in the founder-led businesses, because the personal brand is very important, and your company brand follows you along. Even if you change the name or logo on your backend, who you are, people will remember. So that building those long-term relationships helped us to get people curious, open the doors. We were just making announcements like, hey, do you know what we've been up to? Or you haven't heard from us for a while. This is what we're looking at, and this is what we've tried. And I conducted probably over 500 customer discovery calls. When I called in my partners, my former consultants, people who I could get a hold of, like, listen, I'm not pitching, I swear. I just want you to see and experience how cool it is, what we're working, and tell me how this can help you. Because even today, we're still learning. Every single conversation, every single customer, every single interaction teaches us something new, because the use cases are endless, but each company is so unique. They have unique problems. They think differently. They think about they have different bottlenecks. Their systems set up differently. The tiers of, if we even just to take a customer support, their tiered structure is very different. Some use offshore, some of them not, some of them in the US, some of them need help for their customer support team, which is, I never thought of it initially. I was like, well, we're going to.
Their knowledge base. Yeah, their knowledge base could be incomplete.
Exactly. So we have agents that actually help internal customer support teams to solve their tickets faster, because they hire constant people. They have a complex internal knowledge and they need an extra help. So it becomes an extended part of their team. They can talk, chat, share screen, help them fill up the forms. So we're not replacing customer support teams, at least not everywhere. But we empowering them to do more and actually use artificial intelligence that becomes an extended part of their team.
Nice. Amazing. How big's the big team now?
So we're just about 20 people. So we're tiny but mighty. I call it a tiny but mighty team. And we're based here, in Washington DC. Our core team is in Washington, DC metro area. We have some people in Europe. They've been loyal partners with us over the years. And we're right now start to expand in the professional services as well. Even though I close my eyes and ears every time people talk about professional services, I was like, I don't want to do it. But you know what? Things break. And beyond that, I was on another podcast the other week, and we talked about that every AI company actually almost have to become not just a SaaS solution, but an agency for an enterprise or mid-sized market or whatever market that they're serving. And the reason why is because people need the knowledge and expertise. People need guidance and support. People need assistance in to ensure you can't, deploy AI solutions on Excel spreadsheet. Well, you can, but you probably don't want to do it.
Right.
There needs to be a foundation, a platform built, and adoptions anywhere from the top level executives to the ground floor people who actually work side by side to it. It requires people to get to know it, and they need help from people who are actually doing it. So in some shape and form, you really need to have this advisory, professional services, consultancy. Even if you don't want to do it, that builds a long-term trust relationship and partnership with your customers.
Ultimately, someone's going to be talking to AI and they're going to be like, I just want to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And that goes across absolutely every vertical in every business. Is like at some point, the AI solutions are so elegant and just getting smarter and better. But at some point, you're going to be like, I need to talk to a person. And you got to have that option. So it's interesting to see that adoption, or they're calling it service as a software now.
Yeah. There's actually, there's a new term coming into play. Is it outcome as a service? And I think that is much more attractive right now, especially in AI first startups. I use it's a SaaS, but AI first startups that are solving businesses problems with the power of AI in one shape and form. And you're driving not just the solution, just shovel it down the throat, sell prescription, subscription based, and you're done. You're driving the outcomes and the complementary services of advisory, training, seminars, consultancy, anything in between, or even just a referral to the partners that can help them solve and optimize their systems. That's the outcome as a service. I think that's the new trendy word that's going to be bubbling around.
You heard it here first. I haven't heard that, but I love that. Outcome as a service. It has such a better ring than AI. AI is like, I just think of like some robot that's going to scratch my back until it bleeds and like that'll be a wrap. But outcome as a service is like, these are the outcomes I need. It's always like 3 or 4 things, and then using tools to facilitate that. That's amazing. 20 people on team. What's annual revenue ballpark?
Let's leave it to the later discussions on the next episode.
You got it. What's the next step, or what's the logical outcome for the company? Are you looking to raise a round of financing? Are you looking to sell? Are you looking for a strategic acquisition and acquire more companies? What does the next 24 months look like for you guys?
So in the next 24 months, we're gearing ourselves for the seed round. And we really postponed this step as far as possible to get the greater valuations, greater, more serious offers. We went through the initial conversation, and my legal team are actually working to, get ourselves around for the seed round. Again, in any startup in any phase, you'll eventually face this stage. Early on, you may start it with angel investors early on and get pre-seed and seed. We're targeting in a seed round right now without the angel investors. So we kind of bootstrap as our route is they're slightly different. But again, the sales and marketing and the reach, it's very critical. That's why the investment is really the next step for us. I see ourselves grow and expand acquisition by larger partners, possibly, but I don't see it coming in the near future. Not like I really want to build another Microsoft, but I really want to make an impact that AI and human can really coexist and create a human connection that really lasts and bring people together, not pushing them apart. With all of the AI technologies right now, you see how it can do a lot of good, but it also can do a lot of not so good things. We hear a lot about the deep fakes, the clones of voice, the visual misrepresentation, manipulations of data. And misinformation is purely misinformation driven by the hype. So we will see a lot of challenging times ahead of us, and how we safely and securely collaborate, how we build trust, how we don't afraid and embrace the technology and without breaking ourselves. A lot of people get attached to talking to AI or chatting with their chat GPT. They're losing the human connection and importance of this. We're social beings. We really need to stay intact, still stay connected, stay engaged. And AI technology can help us be better at this, but not pull us apart. So I really want to take it for a longer ride to see how it unfolds and be a part of this journey to be an advocate for an ethical and responsible AI adoption.
Cool. And you thinking about going into a seed round with a team of 20 is absolutely incredible. A lot of people are talking about seed strapping. So when you're thinking about a seed round, are you thinking about $100,000, $1 million, $10 million? Like what's a seed to you?
For us, it's anywhere from 2.5 to 5 mil at this time.
Yeah.
We may consider in our intermediate, halfway through, just a quick mini round, and then, in a 10 months, the full round, depending on the level of interest, engagements. And I try to keep because we don't need the funds for product development. We have some leverage in the game, and we're strategically evaluating the venture capital or private equity investors who are not just going to throw the money at us. My legal team is like, don't take any FU money. But really, these strategic partners who believe what we believe, who see the value and projected trajectory of the company, who can open the doors and make the introduction to make a greater impact in the organization of the larger scale, that excites me. So I'm looking for really the partners that can share the mutual goals and vision, and not just the check writers, because checks are coming in anyway. Right. And if it's all about how you manage your cash flow to really get the scalability, but having the right partners early on can really, set you up for success.
Totally. A big reason why I started this podcast, because I love founders. I love folks that step out and they put their company on their back and they're like, let's go. Why is founder-led marketing important to you?
Well, it's a loaded question. I think you have to have this entrepreneurial gene in you. I don't know if there's such a thing. The biologists probably say that you're crazy, but I do believe that there's such a gene in there that you have to really launch into the entrepreneurial spirit, because I don't know how the normal person would do it. You need to. I think a lot of founders would agree with me, because it's a sleepless night. It's a lot of responsibility. You don't have the instant gratification like you would do in a normal job. But I do believe that this is the greatest test in your personal development journey that you will ever go through. Going through that entrepreneurial journey is the biggest personal development challenge that anyone could ever do, because it challenges you in a good, in a bad. It challenges you in your people management, in your personal, in your imposter syndrome, how you manage that, your resilience, your, response to setbacks. And the founders, they're this lightning shining mini stars that some shine brighter, some of them not, some have different talents, but they ignite the inspiration and curiosity to bring better solutions, to drive innovations forward. They inspire people. They start following them on social media. They get, post some silly stuff. I talk on my LinkedIn about some highs and lows and personal journeys and things that inspires me. And just, again, being able to relate to people and share the story. I think this, the founder-led startups, the founders don't shy away from media, don't shy away from podcasting, from being present, really makes a huge favor for the company's success.
To summarize, it sounds like you think it's fun.
It is fun until it's not, but then it's funny.
It's both things, really.
All things, yes. It's absolutely all things. It is just it's a lifestyle. I think it's a lifestyle. I could not, I'm kidding you not, I could not sit still for first 15 years, I think, or 12 years of my career in corporate. I loved the aspect of, large deals, huge opportunities, very high tech transactions, and access to the latest technology. However, it was not moving fast enough for me. It was just this snail paced, and it get boring very, very quickly. So I get I call it an early midlife crisis. That I can't do this anymore. I need, and be careful what you wish for, right? But looking back, I wouldn't do anything differently. This is the things that wakes me up every morning, gets me inspired. We troubleshoot. Something pushes back. Something pushes forward. Something pulls us back. But that's just the way of life. He's figuring things out. And without startups, without early innovators, even if you fail 3 times, even if you fail 100 times, it doesn't really matter. You're constantly improving, and you make this enterprise or your industry life better, easier. And that's something worth doing.
Great. I love it. Okay, we're about to do the lightning round. Are you ready for that?
Okay, sure.
All right. Is there a business idea that you have thought about that would quickly generate $1 million in revenue, let's say in 12 months?
Oh my God. Doing some AI brainstorming roundtable for, I think people are doing it right now. It's not a crazy idea. AI seminars for everybody with, 100 visitors and a huge marketing campaign. Still does. It still flies.
Okay. And how about you sell voice to me tomorrow for $1 billion? What's your next move?
I'll probably going to take a year break, buy a Colorado estate with equestrian farm and for a little bit.
All right. Well, let me know.
Sure. And a probably somewhere in Dale or Beaver Creek, somewhere there.
It's a good spot. If you're really looking for a good ranch, I got some other spots for you. Look around Meeker.
Sounds good. All right. So the $1 billion first, Meeker next.
Meeker next. That's right. Cool. If you're entering college today, knowing what you know now, what would you study?
If the college is still be in place it's a tough question. I would focus on still learning the engineering and software engineering from the aspect of the biological robotics. Biological robotics, meaning that it talks about how the robotics and AI operates in everyday's life. Because I believe that this is the next stage where we're going to go into from the AI evolution. We're going to go from the just conversation chat functions into more living presence. So dynamics, mechanics, plus artificial intelligence in day-to-day life, like robots, cutting machines. This is where the future is heading, I do assume. So everybody who's entering the college, the physics is the best place to stay, understanding how physics works and understanding how to enhance the artificial intelligence into day-to-day life. I think that's what I would focus on.
Amazing. What's something that you know now that you wish you knew earlier?
What I know now, wish I knew earlier. I wish I would have overcome the self-doubt earlier and never let my self-doubts hold me back in certain ways. And that's what I teach my kids right now, because self-doubt is the biggest self-sabotage you can have. You can question yourself, you can beat yourself, but you got to do it anyway. So certain things in life, I wish I wouldn't doubt myself as much and push myself forward a little harder.
Amazing. Is there a CEO or other entrepreneur that you really admire?
Sarah Beckley. I love her personality. I love Spanx, and I love her quote when she said, "You don't have to be serious in order to be taken seriously." I love that, and that kind of stays with me because I can be goofy sometimes. I can be silly sometimes, and being a blonde female from Ukraine, an entrepreneur in a high-tech industry, raise the eyebrows from time to time, and that's fine. And people ask me, and sometimes like, well, so whose company is that? And
You're like right here,
right here. But that's cool, and that's fine. And I learned how to play it into my advantage. I have to, and it helped us to overcome some of the competitions because they underestimate what we can accomplish with the right team and right resources in house. But you don't have to be serious to be taken seriously. And you have to have fun and allow people around you to have fun too.
Amazing. I've worked with and hired a lot of people from Ukraine, designers, programmers. Why is the talent so high in the Ukraine? Why are people so skilled and talented there?
They've been living in a survival mode for many, many years. I feel genuinely proud to carry, full blood, purebred Ukrainian right in front of you. And I feel genuinely very proud. And I'm proud of this nation as a whole, because we've been into the conflict, and the United States and other countries watched the conflicts in the last recent years. But the conflict goes much deeper in 150 years of constant repressions by Russian Federation and Russian Empire. And before that, there was a Turkish, and before that, there was a whole bunch of historical turmoil that went through Ukrainian soil because it's strategically located in a very sweet spot for international trades. And the people love their land. They stay loyal to their ethnicity. They stay loyal to their land, and they know they have to learn how to survive. And it is incredible when under bombing, I had my team there in Ukraine, and they're like, hold on 1 second, we need to turn on the generator. Hold on. Everybody's like, oh, there's a building right next to us. No, we keep on working. We're fine. And we were just like, he's sitting there. And the reason why they're so successful, because they understand that tomorrow is not a guarantee. So you have to do a lot what you can do with today and how much you can accomplish in one day. That mentality really challenges you of what the perception of reality is. Because for United States, for many of Europeans and Americans, we know our path. We know tomorrow is always going to be coming. And there's going to be another election. There's only two parties, right? And, then it comes the retirement, the Social Security, and there we haven't had any major crisis on our land. So there's always tomorrow. But the people who constantly live with the tomorrow is not a guarantee. They'll learn how to accomplish much more in the day that is given for them today. And that's something to really learn from. Like any depression can be cured if there's no tomorrow. So.
That's a good point. Can I ask about your dad?
Sure. Of course.
What was his voice like?
I have a clone of his voice. We have a clone of his voice. He had it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I asked my mom after his passing to send me a couple of the recording videos, and it's not ideal. But it gave me, I mean, that was my part of grieving. He fell very sick during the wartime, and we didn't realize how bad it was until it was too late. So he had a leukemia and died very, very quickly because at that time there was no heat, no water, no electricity in Ukraine, and the hospitals could not really provide him with adequate care. So we kind of arrived too late, and I didn't have a chance really to say goodbye. And for me, the part of the grieving was to really hearing these old tapes and his voice when he played with my daughter when she was only little. And he was very serious man. So having him laugh was almost like mission impossible. But my daughter was the only person who really get him giggle. And I was really little tapes of recording that we played together, and we did a clone of his voice. And I had my kind of personal counseling sessions with him and conversation that I really want to talk with him. And that was my kind of closure. And again, it wouldn't be possible without the artificial intelligence. I did it for me, and I share the story in some of the conferences that I attend because that's, I think, what sealed my passion for the voice, because it can bring people joy, closure, ability to connect with people who are not here with you anymore, even though, again, it's you need to handle the clones of the voices very cautiously, right, for the identity protection. But it can give you so much more of the emotional connection that you never had. I haven't seen my dad, before he passed away for 7 years because he was not able to travel. I was busy here, and I was always hoping that there would be a tomorrow. Unfortunately, that tomorrow didn't come.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Eva. That's extraordinary.
You're welcome.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. It's been my pleasure. Thanks.
Hey, founders, let me ask you this. Are you building with AI or getting left behind by it? If you're serious about scaling smarter, faster, and bolder, you need to check out AI.ForFounders.Co. It's your go-to resource for cutting through the noise and actually using AI to grow your startup. Each week, AI for Founders drops a sharp, no-fluff newsletter, dives deep with expert guests on the podcast, and hosts monthly workshops where you can get your hands dirty with the real tools and strategies. Whether you're pre-seed or Series B and beyond, launching something new, or just staying sharp, AI for Founders gives you the edge you need to win in 2025 and beyond. Hit AI.ForFounders.co to subscribe to the newsletter, tune into the podcast, and grab your spot in the next workshop. And it's all free. Build smarter, move faster, think bolder with AI for Founders. Now back to the show.